What a way in. The Pogues.
Unreal, that, innit?
Fairy Tale in New York. It is undoubtedly the best Christmas song of all time. Welcome
Is
back.
that big globally? Like,
No,
or is
so
it just...
this is my first point. So on today we have Mr. Neville fans from down under in Australia, and we have 563, our one and only head of research from Burgerland.
How's it going, guys?
Good, mate. How are you? First question before we get into this, though. Well, technically, second one after how are you that I've already talked over you on. Have you heard that song before?
Oh, I love that song.
Good.
Oh, there we go.
Great. I don't think I've heard it this Christmas season either. So this was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good one back, isn't it?
Have you, Nev? Surely you know.
No, we're kind of more of a Braithwaite horses kind of vibe.
Braithwaite horses?
Don't know if you know that one, mate. Yeah, I think every country has their niche classic that you could have them play at the new festival, like whatever the local festival is. Pull out the guy from like 3 decades ago, and everyone will be cheering. You know,
There's a recurring joke about that song in like every family that any like man of the house cannot prevent themselves from telling everyone at the dinner table how the female singer died in a terrible boating accident.
Oh no!
Actually, it was a speedboat, wasn't it? Oh,
yeah, it was a speedboat. I actually didn't hear what you just said because I had to turn.
And you knew what,
but I knew what you were saying. Yeah. So, right, if you just join in and you're reading the title 2025 in review, the good, the bad, and the even worse, that's because that's what we're going to talk about today. And what we did was we did a little prep call earlier. And we said we were all going to choose our highlights and our lowlights. And frankly, there were so many lowlights that we said, let's just let everyone who's live chip in. And if not, we'll riff on the stuff that we think was particularly ugly. So how long this will be, I don't know. How short it will be, I don't know. But before we get into it, I just want to give a shout out to Yeet, which is the main sponsor of the Blockmates pod. So thank you to Mando, Ben Lam, and the guys over there for that. And as you should know by now, there is a Blockmates leaderboard over there, and how it works is the guys give out $3,000 every month just for playing, just for signing up. The link will be in the YouTube description if you are watching on there. If you're live, it is going to be in the replies. And if you are on Spotify, because Spotify and RSS don't let us hyperlink anywhere, you'll have to go to YouTube to sign up, or it's in our Discord. Like, as long as you're not like the laziest person of all time, you'll be able to find the link somehow. So yeah, it's the last one of the year for us. So we thought we'd bring in the big guns, as I've already said, with 563 and Nev. So what I want to go around the room first, fellas, and I'm going to start with 563, and I'm going to say, where are you at mentally at the minute as we as we are in mince pie mulled wine season? We've been quite festive already in December. How do you feel about where we're at, mate, sentiment wise?
Sentiment's pretty awful right now, man. I don't know about you, but I'm excited for a break. Yeah, I mean, we've been through a lot this year, obviously, and we're going to talk about all the highs and lows, but I think maturation is never a pretty sight. You know, it's an ugly process, and we're cutting our teeth in all the ugliness right now, and I think it's going to be good in the long haul, but you definitely have to go through a lot of road bumps to get there.
Yep. Nev?
I don't know, mate. This year, that's my feeling of the year. That sound, I guess. It's been a weird one. Ups and downs. I'd say it feels like chop. If like what you look on a site, when you look at a chart and you see like sideways chop, and you're like, oh, I wouldn't want to be a part of that. That's what the year feels like, I think. But you have the awesome highs and the awesome lows. Right now, sentiment's pretty average, though. So it's kind of, I'm feeling that side of things, which is a shame.
Okay. We have two very loud mics there, by the way, Henry. If we can live correct them. If not, I'm sure we'll do it in post, both Nev and 563s. And then, Grant, I'm going to you before we get into this thing.
Yeah, knackered. I think. Just looking forward to some time off and not checking everything. And then, yeah, I think I mentioned it a few times on these streams and stuff like that. But the industry looks like it's about to go through its huge, as 563 was saying, maturation phase. But that is going to carry a lot of dead wood to the surface. I think there's a lot of shit that needs to get washed out of the system. And I think we're probably in the early innings of that. But I think at the end of it, we should be in a much greater place. All them all for it.
Okay, so what we're going to do, just to give you a slight spoiler, because I know we joke, and even with the title, the bad and the even worse. But we'll we basically, as I said before we came on earlier, we sat and we picked out some things that were just subjectively some of the things that we enjoyed the most this year, seeing take shape. And then we're going to probably riff on some negative type stuff, see what happens there, and then finish it with truly where we feel going into 26, because I myself have been listening to far too much Alan Watts recently, which is probably a sign of where my head's been at, and lots of
been taking mushrooms in the bath.
Yeah, just lots of philosophical walks in nature, thinking to myself, what am I doing with my life, and then realizing that it's actually all right, and it's Christmas. So
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to start with the good, and I'm gonna start with not my own because I'm the host, and I think it would be weird if I said my own and then we started riffing on that one first. So I'm going to actually start with yours, Grant. And excuse me, one of the highlights that you picked up on was the quite a general point about tokenization, kind of picking up steam, really. We talked about this last week when we brought up the recent SEC quotes when Paul Atkins had come out and said everything will be tokenized, yada yada yada, because the theme of the last few weeks on the show has basically been the show. Oh, that was icky. The pod. What is this? A live stream? It's not a show.
Disaster class every week.
Yeah, it's not a show, that's for sure. And again, with kind of what Nev and 563 said, it feels like we're at a maturation stage in the industry, which is kind of also a bit of a painful shape shift that we're going through at the minute, probably for the better in the long run, even though no one's making any immediate money. So, yeah.
If anyone's making money, let me know where to find it. I'm looking. I've got the gold pen out, mate.
We did the prep call earlier, and Nev rolled out of bed onto the call, and the only way I describe it is he was full of fuck, and I thought, oh, this is going to be...
Yeah, man. I got the fun hat on, mate. My merch that I got for losing all that money, King of the Hill. I got another little doll here. I've got a lot of nice things to say, and I don't know, but it'll be fun. It'll be a fun stream, mate. It'll be a fun stream.
Yeah.
So you got $800 million, and all I got was this lousy hat.
Biggest raise of the year. I wonder where that went. I don't know, man.
Well, we'll get to that. All right, you can talk shit. You can say what you want. I don't mind. We're all going down the ship anyway. Right, Grant, tokenization. Talk to me. If you want me to pull up some stories, I can. But I think it's probably better that you just sort of give the gist of tokenizing stocks and everything of where your head's at there.
Yeah, it's back and forth, right? So I think the obvious headlines of tokenized equities, tokenized perps, everything that you see in the regular world coming on chain. And I think that's a really, really positive thing. But I think it also goes the opposite way. And I think it's also probably one of the main reasons of why we're going through these, as 563 was saying, we're cutting our teeth and we're having these big boy problems now where it doesn't necessarily matter that companies are previously siloing themselves as a crypto project. And I think the industry has been extremely self-referential for an extremely long period of time, and you could have gotten away with that. I think where we're at now currently, and this is a byproduct of everything coming on chain. That means productive assets, commodities, everything in between. Then you're sat next to kind of this pseudo equity kind of extremely overbloated token. It seems like less and less and less appealing, and I think that's only a good thing. So the direct tokenization thing of bringing equities, commodities, and everything in between on chain, I think that's really, really good. But I also think that drags an immature industry up to standard at the same time, because it again gets like has to rub shoulders to shoulders with actually performing companies. So I think that's a really, really good thing. As I say, I think we're in the early innings of the industry still figuring that out. That's why everyone who's been in the stock market and who's been trading commodities for the past 12 months has been doing really, really well, whilst we've just been a bit of a wet fart. So, yeah, I think it's going to be painful for the foreseeable future. But I think at the end of it, when all's said and done, I think you start to see things that look a little bit more like ownership coins and direct equity, as opposed to this kind of like coupon that everyone's currently holding that were once promised that it might actually translate into equity, but that hasn't really kind of transpired, has it? So, yeah, I think it's been a really, really good year for that. Teams like Securitize have done really, really well. And yeah, I think it's just like legitimized the industry massively. So, long may that continue.
Grant, let me just give you one final point on that before I just get the lads' view on it, because the reason this came top of mind again is because Andy and the Roll Up lads had you on talking about the token versus equity dilemma. Well, they were talking about a tweet that you put out, sorry, is more accurate. Andy was referencing that on the Roll Up show. Can you just give some insight into what he was talking about there and what you said? Well, in fact, I will, because the tweet did quite well. So you put, I think a major trend going forward will either be no token or tokenized equity. Anything in between will be uninvestable. Yeah,
like this is a byproduct of everything coming on chain. It's like it runs both ways, right? It's not just a one-way street. So I think what we've seen is, and I know we're going to get into something like this a little bit further down in the conversation, but the recent Axelar thing, the Padre acquisition, I think more and more kind of failed teams that had extremely large valuations probably going to get into the point where they're going to get acquired. That throws up a really important question of, well, what the fuck happens to the token? Does it actually matter? Was it all just a kind of bit of theater, as we see quite a lot in the industry, of like, was this pseudo equity? Wasn't it? And now I think the industry's pushing to a point of where it just won't take that anymore. If you've actually got direct access to dividend paying stocks, but you're holding the token, like what Securitize have just announced recently, like why are you going to hold some worthless governance token that actually means absolute nothing? And I think that's going to become more and more apparent. And I think we're probably going to have this like long, hard period of realization of people that are just holding on to complete dog shit. So it's either projects, companies come into the real world with an actual working use case and don't raise on a SAFT and don't sell tokens to investors, or you're going to have some direct kind of equity that translates to actually holding the token, similar to what MetaDAO did, and similar to, I think it's called Stamp. I need to like read into it a little bit more in detail, but the early signs are there, but that's going to be a real painful time for a lot of these teams that have just tried to kind of like substitute PMF in a working business plan for just selling tokens to kind of fund operations. I think that's coming home to roost. It already is to a large degree.
Man, I just really want to jump in. You really like, I'm on this real big decentralization arc, not because just the fundamentals of, like, that's the fundamentals, right? Like decentralization. I think all of these companies are centralized companies. They're pretending to be decentralized. If they can sell their protocol or sell their tokens, sell everything, and then like all of the people that bought these tokens thinking that they were part of a decentralized network get nothing, it's a total scam. Like, I'm sorry. That is not okay. I and the teams, I think, might not even be like realizing that. But this year we had Futureverse close down. They said, okay, we spent all the money that we had in investment and or the token of Root network. It's just now nothing. We had Cadena had the same thing. Like it's definitely an ongoing realization that's happening, that the companies that have failed to move from a centralized system, that's what happens when you launch, into a decentralized network, which is the primary objective of having the token that's a governance token. If you fail to do that, then the token's worthless. And yes, they will sell it to another centralized company, then the token will be worth nothing. And I think that's like a really important message and an evaluation thought about whether you want to buy and hold a token. Because if that's going to happen and the exit strategy for that team is to sell it to another centralized business, it's going to be worth literally zero. And that's kind of scary. And it's a scary look. That's the biggest negative thing to look at for next year. A lot of good things.
The problem is that's already been normalized now by one of the biggest swinging dicks in the industry.
Thing. That's the scary thing. It has been normalized by the biggest publicly listed company in our industry. It's normalized. That is the benchmark that it is okay now. And that's really scary for people who've bought into a decentralized like belief, which is what Bitcoin was and is. So that like there's just this jarring disconnect there, and I want to try to get that message to as many people as possible, because like normal people will get wrecked holding those tokens if that is the exit strategy.
I'm tempted to like pull the tiger tail there.
We'll never get finished.
But then we'll never get through anything.
6 hours.
Yeah. So 563, who really winds me up that I have to use 3 syllables instead of 1 every single time we're on streaming together. What do you think of the tokenization stuff, mate, before we move on quickly? Because I don't want to, as I say, we've got another 3 to go before we start getting into the ugly stuff.
I'm so sorry. I've already gone in.
Yeah. There's way more ugly stuff we can talk about with tokens than good stuff. But people just try to understand what you're holding when you're holding that token. Is it an IOU? Do you have any rights at all as a token holder? Or can that just all be forfeited away from by a centralized company? So just a warning, I guess. That's what all of these examples are, especially if you're trying to buy something that you're buying it for the tech, and just be careful.
Yeah. You were last there, so I'm going straight into you. You brought up HIP3, perp markets going live.
Yeah, it's kind of a twofer. I think Hyperliquid has shown us what's possible as in terms of just price discovery happening on chain is just novel in that it hasn't happened before. When you talk about new projects launching, it would always find their new prices on Binance or whatnot. And it's very notable that that's now happening on chain venues. So hats off to that, and just perpification in general. I think we're taking for granted how big of an impact crypto has had on just this perpetual futures contracts being normalized and just earning their stripes on chain. So I think those are big wins for the crypto industry as a whole. So if we're still talking about the good stuff anyway.
Yeah. Thoughts on that, fellas? Grant, you've obviously did a lot on HIP3. I think you tweeted, when was it? It was months and months ago, Hyperliquid will flip Binance. Was that the tweet?
Yeah.
I think it's going to flip the Nasdaq, mate.
There you go. See, we are like schizo as fuck on this stream this week. We're like, it's immediately like, I have no idea where this is going. It's flipping the Nasdaq. Nev, go on.
Well, I posted a video saying that Hyperliquid would flip the Nasdaq, and then it's been down only since. So I feel like a dick.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
If you can actually plot it, it's horrible. I look at the chart, I'm like, you fucking joking, mate. So
I think, and one of the, just to give a shout out for like all the live comments and stuff that are coming in, and there's loads on Twitter as well. We will like reference these at some point, because one thing that is interesting on one of the tweets we've had is someone said, the good Hyperliquid, everything else is just the rest, which I thought was quite appropriate for, yeah, the best was Hyperliquid, the worst was the rest. So yeah, Grant, final thoughts on HIP3 before we go through to Nev and me.
HIP3 is amazing. He's starting to see like floating of traditional markets wanting to stay open for 24/7. Oh, I think I seen like 23/7 or some shit earlier. But it showed, as opposed to us being led, it showed what's possible from a new kind of paradigm of finance. So it's really, really cool. Still think it's very, very, very early days for it, and I think the design space has been opened up massively with just with Hyperliquid in general, and like what's actually capable and possible over there. So yeah, always rooting for them, because it's probably the closest thing we've had in a long time, particularly this year. That's like at the core ethos of like crypto values. So
yeah. Cool. And then one that, like, slight spoiler alert, if you are relatively new to what we do, which I don't think many of you who are listening in will be, but every year we tend to do a 20 whatever the forthcoming year will be, like prediction piece. Grant tends to write. I think Kai and 563 involved in it this year as well, and then Emery will chip in from time to time, and we all will like a collective effort. And I have it on good authority that the whole privacy meta and where that will go might be making an appearance in there. I actually started scribing something the other day. I got home from the gym feeling all pumped and positive about our industry. Started writing a piece about FHE and teams like Zama and Phoenix, and I was like, came back from Argentina, and I was like, yeah, this is where it's going. This is what I'm going to hang my hat on.
Post-nut clarity.
Post-nut clarity and exercise form.
Lifted a 2 kilo weight.
Yeah, which is you think I'd learn to start like exercising more and drink less, but it's very rare. And then Nev actually brought up the privacy narrative, didn't you, earlier when we were chatting? And I think that it's interesting because I did one of our off the record interviews with James from Starknet Foundation, and one of the things I asked him about, which I thought was quite an interesting point that he made, was we talked about privacy and Zcash and everything that was going on at the time, and James said, I thought he would kind of cling to that and want to go down that rabbit hole, but he said that he figured that everything that came with blockchain technology, and it sounds obvious, but is a given rather than it is a meta or a narrative. It just shouldn't be something that we even discuss as like part of the meal. So what do you think, Nev? You obviously brought that up. It's sort of been shat on for years, or maybe shat on is too extreme, probably
no one cares.
an oversight, but
sent to prison if you worked on it, lots of stuff really.
So the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think that I mean, it's been a massive change in the way that privacy tech has been perceived, regulated. You had like the Roman storm, like all the different things that have happened this year to make privacy tech accepted, I guess, is a massive shift, and I think is just such a breath of fresh air. And it's something that I didn't realize how much I cared about it, to be frank. But the shift of privacy tech for me, it's the missing piece of what fulfills the actual use case in the world to solve real problems. And that's because the world, whether we like it or not, operates on the social constructs of how we interact is very private. What we share and what we don't share. Sometimes when we talk to each other, when we have private conversations, when we have a payroll as a business, when we have our shares that we hold, and we do massive sales for the UN and you're trying to fund something, you can't have that public. If you move all of this stuff on chain, which is the current model, it's literally public and everyone can see it, right? You actually have to have privacy. Like you have to have privacy. And finally, it's not being neglected as something that can, actually fulfill why I'm in the industry. Like it fulfills like the cypherpunk kind of ethos of like, you can actually have a decentralized system. You can look at all these things. And for me, it's the biggest highlight of this year. Like whether it's Zcash that caused having a price run, whatever it is, it's the thing that I think if you look at all these AI companies, one of them integrating privacy tech where users hold their own data when they talk to an AI model rather than them owning it, all of these little things will be what people start using crypto for. That isn't a financial use case. And I long-term have had the thesis that the financial application of crypto technology, like the verification technology, is just one use case of that. And I don't think it's going to be the biggest in the long-term horizon of the next few decades.
563.
No, I totally agree. I'm glad privacy is back. You know, it's never been the sexiest of narratives because it's been hard to make money off of it. But now people are actually making money off of Zcash. So tables have turned.
Yeah, there's a long-standing friend of Blockmates who was in the market for a new job this year, and I remember asking him, "What are you looking for?" And he just said, "Anything but privacy." And I thought, all right, that was interesting. I think the tables have probably turned now because it might be like one of the more exciting sectors to get your teeth into. Because I still think it's like finding its feet as well in terms of how it develops.
It's going to be the biggest moneymaker in my opinion. Not from a charts perspective, from an actual business use case perspective. I thought about RV, what's his name? He had that friend necklace, the really creepy one, right? The one that you talk to and everything, right? The AI one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He had like...
friend.com.
Yeah, massive raise, really successful. And then like New York protests everywhere, right? Because people were scared about the data, all that kind of stuff. ZK proof it. The user can talk to their AI friend, dystopic as hell, don't get me wrong. But you can have these AI relationships. You can have this network digitally if it's private. That will make money. It's an actual business use case. Same with having privatized payroll, being able to like break down your stock sheet internally and have stock markets on just Sprite and Fanta and Coke rather than the entire Coca-Cola company. You can privatize that, then have markets off the back of that. There's so many use cases, and I'm so excited to see how it's going to play out.
Cool. And there is also, just to kind of give one last little subtle, not so subtle shill on this, but Ollie actually wrote a really good piece on, I think it's up on blocmates.com as well now, or whether we just ran this one as an article. And it was like a crypto's privacy powerhouse over, and it was kind of just detailing a lot of the teams that are building in this sector going into next year, which might just be worth a bookmark or a look back on, not to sort of like see whether we get that right or whether we get it wrong. Probably also hold our hands up if we didn't. But I think there might be some stuff going on meal deal wise on the privacy side as well. Am I wrong? Am I right?
Not recently.
Not recently. I'm wrong. Okay, so moving swiftly on. So the picks for me is, I mean, you think I'm saying this because we're getting paid by the Yeet guys, but I'm not. I really enjoyed the Rekt story this year, and what I mean by that is I thought it was quite a fun cultural shift and marker for something that was fundamentally born out of, like, you know, Nev, you've mentioned like cypherpunk, counterculture, crypto, NFT community thing with the Rekt guy NFTs, to launching a drinks brand that sold 1 million cans in under 11 months. And it's now like on shelves across supermarkets across the US, all this kind of thing. The token then obviously did what it did. People were stoked on that. I don't think I've ever had more engagement in my life when I tweeted some stuff that we did. And I think it was like really fun watching that take shape as far as like, oh, what could be possible here, where you basically saw a crypto marketing activation get turned into a real world brand and business, which I hate hate real world anything. That term just is vile, but I've used it accidentally. And I think watching the way that's developed and grown into something was really good this year. And I think that not because, you know, I'm necessarily hyper bullish on everyone launching their own drinks brands, but more because I quite like this crossover of something that started as an NFT project that many in retail and the real world would think is quite unserious, to then launching a beverage in one of the most competitive industries in food and drink and being a success. I just think objectively that's wild that cool. Has happened. Yeah. What did you think of that?
They fucking nailed it. And this is what I'm saying, like, if you play this out the way that the industry's heading, like basically what we've just had a conversation with about like 10 minutes ago, if these tokens then start to be true equity in things like that, it's like a crowdfunding round on steroids, like to the levels that people have never seen before. And particularly if they're on that, like the high street or if they're on shelves, I think I don't know what's possible if that's the case. I think it's just like a total new paradigm that hasn't really been explored yet. It kind of has at this point, but I think again it just soups that up to another level. I think it'd be really interesting to see it all play out. I don't know if tokens are going to be backwards compatible with like tokenized equity rules and shit like that, but I could imagine someone would build that and it'd be a very profitable business if someone could create that framework. But yeah, it's just cool to see a little bit outside the box. It wasn't the 10 fiber liquid competitor. It wasn't, you know, a Uni V2 fork. It wasn't a fucking another stablecoin CDP project. Like, it was just cool. And wasn't generally good lads as well.
Wasn't infra. It was just, so I just thought I particularly enjoyed watching that, really. And because we were like racking our brain and we were going, well, what has been like cool? And like, it sounds like super, super bleak. It's really, really not that bleak. And we are going to get to that. But did you lads have any thoughts on that? I'm probably springing you on it. I know 560, you probably watched it from afar. But
on which one?
When we're talking about Rekt and like how that brand story came to life.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, I would like to get my hands on some of the drinks, but
tried them actually in Korea.
Oh, nice.
Very, very, very good. So anyway, and I actually want to do a quick insight here as to like how this stream has come around today. So if you're just joining now and you're thinking, well, this was like the good, the bad, and the worse. Well, we were looking at the bad and we thought there's quite a lot of it to go through as far as like incident wise. And then as the comments have been coming in on Twitter and live here, we were like, right, we'll just pick and choose. But I think to give you some insight into like actually to give some perspective into things that we've lived through this year, we had the Trump Melania launch, which was in January, which feels like 2 years ago. I couldn't believe earlier that was this year. I remember where I was when Sol topped out and thought I should sell right now, but I didn't because I thought, why would I sell now? It's going to 2K. And we've had the Libra disaster. We have had the UK endless dog shit with trying to strangle this industry and just having no idea where it stands. We've just had endless chop from a workforce point of view as far as like market turbulence, teams getting rid of overheads, everything with Pasternak and Believe. We've had more hacks than ever before. Bybit is probably the most notable one, and like how they handle that from a PR point of view was like quite impressive actually. Pump with its ICO hiccups, and then as Nev pointed out earlier, within 6 months now has a RICO case on its hands, which is kind of wild.
The Hill got my merch from the money I lost.
He's got his merch. We've just had like madness going on with KOLs and some of this stuff that Zach's exposed. Like these people you just never heard of in your life, earning more money than any of us have ever seen in our lives. A woman in New Zealand stole from her mum to invest in crypto and then killed her.
Fucking hell. You fucking sprung that one on us.
Yeah, that wasn't on the fact sheet.
Good job I wasn't in mid fucking drink though, because that went all over this really expensive camera.
Yeah. We had unicorn fart dust.
That was a good.
Yeah, remember that one? We had Justin Sun flying to space.
Wow, these are kind of good stories. They're like fun, like the unicorn fart dust guy. He was just a YouTuber, man, just posting.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, lost a bunch of money.
Maybe corrupt him as well. What about the rug kid?
Nothing is sacred. Yeah. But he's a celebrity now. That's the crazy thing. That's like not a celebrity, but like the tables have turned where it's like, oh, he's having a go. Like he literally rugged everybody.
He's having a go.
What is this world we live in?
He wasn't having a go. He said, thanks for the 20 bandos, bitch, and fucking flipped everyone the bird. But I think, right, negative wise, look.
This is the best bit. This is the way we.
Can we get a couple of those positive headlines here? Can I just read, because there's a list here of other good.
Yeah, go on.
I would really like I hate being so negative. I have a habit of falling into this doom-pilled world, and I know we're about to go there. And that I was pretty negative even in the positive part.
I love it.
Yeah. Silk Road founder. He was released this year, which is very cool. It's just honestly a wild turn of events. Who's next? You tell us.
There's been a shit ton of Bitcoin moved since then. My bad.
Heaps of. It's actually the most amount of ancient Bitcoin ever has been sold this year. As a side note, statistically speaking, take that. What you will.
Yeah.
Take that.
ICOs are back. Are they though? It's hard to say.
Are they?
Just read that one. Maybe not. Maybe they're not.
Colby sold the top.
Actually, I think that's all the positive stuff I can read. I think there's prediction markers fuck off, but I'm like, I don't feel that positive about that. I think that's gambling. So like, I can't read that. Like everything else, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, well, at least we've got, some green today. I'll tell you what we're going to start. And we're going to start on the Trump launch because it is the year in review. And I think that is subjectively the most fucking mental thing
Crime
that
is legal.
happened
That was
this
the
year.
moment, mate.
Crime is legal. So, I mean, look, do I even need to preface this? Donald Trump launched the meme coin. And as I say,
unreal.
It was in January. How do I do this? 563. You're the burger on the stream. You see Trump launches a meme. What's your initial reaction to it?
Man, you can't even be that surprised. I was shocked of just like the market impact of everything because everyone sold everything to buy the Trump meme coin. So it just drew the liquidity from everywhere. And I guess in hindsight, do you think that was the moment where we should have realized, oh, this is probably marking a top? Or was it just the Melania one? Because I think at the Melania point, it becomes obvious of what's going on. It's like obvious grift and send it all to zero. I don't know. But yeah, at the moment, it was pretty crazy. I remember waking up and already missing it, but it is what it is. Hopefully you guys caught some of it.
No.
Yeah, I missed it. I missed it because I thought it was a scam. I thought there was going to be like another tweet that followed, because he posted on Truth Social first, and then screenshots started coming over. Then it runs to 75 billion.
Does it though? Low
Like that's
It's a low float meme coin. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So when someone fucking raises $100 million and they do it, that's all right. But when the fucking president of the United States does it,
I actually don't think it's all right. I have a whole website trying to expose the low floats, mate. But you know, that's a bigger topic. It's a whole separate issue. It was a crazy time. Yeah, the controversy of the dinner the night before and all that kind of stuff is the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
He invited everyone from the industry to have a dinner with him the night before. Is that's what happened, right? And then the launch happened during the party or something while they didn't know about it, or did they know about it? Don't know. It's all a bit weird.
Rushi from Movement was at that dinner as well.
Was he?
He's probably got something to do with it.
Is that why it moved so much?
There's something to be learned from Rushi's movements. Pun intended.
Yeah. I wonder what. Well, the warning sign should have been there when it was paired against fucking USDC and not Sol during the height of everything. And where did that little fucker go as well? That fucking 80s cartoon bad guy character. What was his name?
Oh, Hayden Davis.
Yeah.
He went to Argentina.
I think he's still on the Interpol list, but then I saw something the other day that he was back up to no good. What had he done? Something allegedly. He'd done something. He popped up again, and I was like, "Oh, Hayden Davis is behind this." Can anyone remember?
Libra?
Yeah.
No,
wasn't it?
No, it was after Libra.
Oh,
it was
the
recently.
Kanye coin? Oh, Kanye coin happened too. That wasn't on our list. Kanye was the coin. Oh no!
Jesus fucking Christ.
I forgot about the Kanye coin. What's another one that's
money, bro?
Yeah, what's another one that fucking happened? Jelly on Hyperliquid. Yeah, that was another mental moment. But before we move on from Trump, right? I remember where I was. I was in a. This is how. I was in a pure gym, right? Which, for context to our non-British listeners, is a budget gym group in the United Kingdom. It's probably a sign of where my portfolio has been at in 2025 as well.
No David Lloyd.
David Lloyd's in here, which is, I'm going to say, is probably, to the Americans listening, is comparative to like a Planet Fitness. Yeah, like nice. Something like that. And I was like standing in this gym, and there was just dumbbells all over the floor, and I was just hating the fact that I'm a member of this shit gym. And I saw that it had launched, and I saw my soul bags absolutely sending beyond belief. And I was like, I remember texting Grant actually, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so euphoric right now." and it was quick. And I thought, as you said, 516, that was probably the moment I was like, "This could be a top." But everyone saw the sentiment. I remember like Ansem just tweeting some stuff, which was again when he said about how can this not be a bullish sign? The president has literally legitimized meme coin launching, and then as we've said, massive liquidity rotation, everyone gets wrecked. Then you get followed up with the left hook and the body shot of Melania and Barron, and then
completely forgot about Barron too.
Yeah,
I mean, Barron wasn't an official, like it was official Melania and official Trump. So if you bought Barron like me, you're an idiot. But
yeah, I actually made money on Barron.
Well, I was your counter, mate, so I'm happy for you. I'm glad you donated your gym membership. That's great.
Well, my gym membership at Pure Gym's £16.50 a month, mate. So
that's nice.
That's about
good. That's good going. That.
But right, okay. So here we go. In hindsight, was the Trump meme coin, and then where I'm going with this after is pump fun. By the way, net negative or positive for the industry?
I think there's a parallel universe where Melania didn't launch and where Sol's at $1,000.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. And does that parallel universe also have Sleepy Joe on the US throne?
Do you think there's any like? Is it just like a marital kind of like? Oh, if you launch a coin, I'll have a coin too. Like that's how it kind of happened. Like they kind of like, oh, we should both launch a coin.
Just max extract, man. Like
Yeah.
they got greedy.
No,
If they had one coin, they would have made more money. Like it makes no sense why you'd want. I bet they had ones lined up for the other kids too.
WLFI.
Yeah, but it's like it's like if I want to get a sauna and an ice bath in a gym in the garage at my place, then there's a negotiation that has to play out there where my wife wants a kitchen.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, you get a coin, I get a coin.
If you're having one, I want something as well.
Yeah, like is there just the human aspect of this, and the collateral damages our entire industry and everything that we love?
We heard was doing like 2-for-1 like Black Friday deals on like dynamic liquidity pools on Meteor or some shit.
That would be only.
Apparently he was in Japan the other day. I just seen him.
What must it be like to be like a ghostly crypto scamming character, infamous, and like what would you?
What would it be like?
Would you, like
what sort of like life is that? Getting like fuck
like
right
a Pasternak now.
Yeah, so we finished.
Give it to the next criminal. Let's go. Sorry, no, not sorry. Suspected criminal. Sorry, my bad.
On to the next suspected criminal, Libra and Javier Millet.
Oh,
now re-enter the room, Hayden Davis, baby.
Have you seen Millet performing and singing on stage? By the way,
no.
I obviously don't turn this stream off to watch that, but in your own time, watch that because it's fucking funny.
Like that's something he's done before. He turns the stream off. We go watch it right now. We're back in a bit, boys.
Yeah, he does look like just an Oasis fanboy who never grew up, and
it looks like all of my aunties put together.
And he launches a shitter with Hayden Davis, and then Hayden Davis goes on CoffeeZilla in what was
got the mug, got the merch on the CoffeeZilla merch.
Got the I think it was the biggest car crash interview ever in crypto.
What is that like? Obviously when FTX collapsed and UST imploded, what is it about the culprit that feels like they have to go so close to the person that's gonna call them out or close to the scene? It's like going back to the scene of the crime, isn't it?
I don't know if they
are they deluded enough to think they can pull the wool over their eyes of CoffeeZilla, who like he does this for a living. Like why do people do that?
I think they could be a delusion of like not realizing that you are doing crime.
Yeah,
I think that there's like a normalization that happens with. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this there's so it's a wild west for a long time, and things get normalized to the point where it's boiling frogs. You make one choice, you have another choice, and then you keep going, and all of a sudden you've done something where you're like using the entire country's economy promise to rug crazy, right? And like
East African country launched on Pump Fun as well? That happened.
Car coin, Central African Republic, is it? Was that what it was?
Yeah,
that was also. I bought that one too. Idiot. I bought them all. I bought every single one. Every single one.
That's why you've got the King of the Hill hat.
Yeah,
that's why you got the. Yeah. It's like when casinos keep bringing you drinks.
Yeah, I was playing Pokemon, bro. Got to catch them all. Don't.
I actually think, Grant, you were the one that tweeted earlier this year. Keep pushing buttons. Keep clicking buttons. So
yeah, like clicking the tabs off. I mean,
we're offering refunds in the Blockmates Discord, by the way. For anyone,
just DM Alex, he'll give you one.
Yeah, I'll meet you.
Just DM Mike Blockmate.
Yeah,
for all refund inquiries.
It comes in Pure Gym memberships.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll meet you outside of Pure Gym and we can have a conversation. So
duke it out
because we're talking about meme coins. I want to talk about in the same way that Hyperliquid is again being the darling of this cycle and. Everything that's come with the Hyper EVM and HIP3 and everything we talked about there. I think there's like a certain irony to what we've just been discussing, and the opposite is also true in Pump Fun has inevitably been a huge player throughout this year. And there's sort of been a developing story over the past few weeks and months about this class action lawsuit that's been happening against Pump. This isn't anything new. It was, I think it like fired up a few months ago now, but then in the past couple of days, there has been, I think it was actually yesterday, this account Berwick Law, which were also previously involved in, I think it might have been Libra or some of the legal tied up stuff. They have basically then posted some comms that this case, which is essentially class action led by these guys, Diego, Michael, and Kendall, who are representing all of these investors that are all collectively suing Pump Fun. And the defendants are Solana Labs, Anatoly, the Solana Foundation, Jito Foundation, Elon of Pump Fun, and then there's one of the CTO co-founders as well. So there's a lot of people there. And some of the things they're mainly being sued for is the sale of unregistered securities, racketeering and corruption, false advertising, profiting at someone else's expense. And this is kind of ongoing, which is now being confirmed that it is going into a RICO case. So this account, Clive99, had put it out the other day, if you're listening on Twitter as well. It's kind of smaller account with some of these documents. He'd kind of done a correction saying that there were allegations only. I actually think it was yesterday. And Mert had said this has been a thing for a while now and surfaced several months ago on this app. It's also very common for visible companies and generally a nothing burger. I'm not sure why they're silent, but I'm 99% sure it's not this, because this guy was basically accusing the Pump team of not communicating at all. And I think, Grant, you said earlier that was the account just a few retweets in the last few days?
Yeah, it was like, well, it wasn't exactly active.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to say it's gone like completely cold, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So then now we have a RICO case on our hands, which 563. What was it you referred to it as just before we were recording earlier?
Yeah, it's a way to go after the bosses of an organization without, like, even though like the underlings had done the crime. It's like a mob boss thing.
So, okay, that's clickbaity enough. Pump Fun, mob boss.
There you go. Sopranos on chain.
Sopranos.
I think it was the more of like the conspiracy angle that there's been Mevbots directly using Jito to try and front run some of the largest launches on Pump Fun.
The Mev stuff came into it, and there's a big can of worms.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could quite easily argue against that.
This is where this, again, if we play this back out to the start of this stream as well, when you talk about decentralized systems and centralized systems, if they are centralized companies, this is where this stuff becomes a problem. But if you're you founded a decentralized protocol, you have no control over this protocol. You can't even control the voting. Like, you can't control anything. But the way it's permissionless, if someone uses it for something, there's nothing that you can do. But if it's a centralized business, then that's where there is it gets quite dicey. You are responsible for things. Like, I don't know. That's how I don't actually know for fact. I'm playing this out in my head, literally in live time. But it's I think this could be, I'm looking at like each cycle having not the sacrifice of like what the public or whoever, there's always that thing that happens. Someone gets held as like FTX.
Oh yeah, there's always an offering to the gods, always.
And Pump, largest raise of the cycle ever, whatever, lots of different things. Tied with Solana, how far Solana gets tied into all of that is a scary prospect, to be honest. Whether it's valid or not is even scarier. I'm not someone who can say either way on any of those questions.
So if we zoom out a minute, right, and we talk about Pump and the general contribution to the industry. So if I go back to the ICO in the summer, Grant and me actually had a discussion about this, and Grant said it was I think it was like the way he said it was like an obvious buy at the time, which turned out to be probably a correct call like a month prior. But Pump Fun, we always talk about PMF in this industry. Majority of products in the space are pre-PMF. Pump is certainly not that, just like Hyperliquid is certainly not that. With Pump, though, how do you view it now in retrospect, thinking that probably similar to what I said about Trump. Like, where did we go from pump fun and meme coins into the president launching his own shitter, into Kanye launching his own, into the president of Argentina and these countries in Africa? How do you view pump fun now as a kind of contribution source to the industry? And I'm going to go to the smartest man in the room first in 563 on that one.
I mean, obviously Pump has PMF. I think the reputational risk that it has brought to the industry is largely negative. And I think it's mostly from the streaming. If it didn't have streaming, I think it would be all, it'd still be bad. And I would encourage people not to go on Pump Fun, but I think it wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the industry. It's just an easy way to launch tokens. The problem is that just about everybody that buys these tokens is going to lose because the game is figured out at this point. And yeah, just the streaming has brought out the worst in people.
This is tough. It's a tough. I agree. The streaming, the stuff that has been streamed on the platform, I don't forget, and I'm not impressed by any. Like, I don't want. Like, it's a horrible, horrific reality that exists. And it's not okay. Like, they stopped streaming for a while. They brought it back. It's not a world I really want to live in. I don't, for that reason, I haven't really ever been, I'm wearing the hat I'm kind of wearing as a joke, to be honest. Like, literally, that's what I'm wearing as a joke. I think it's like one of those funny things, like an artifact of the past. But I think Pump had a product market fit. I don't think it does anymore. Launching tokens easily was a problem. It did need to be solved, and they did solve it. You didn't need to be a dev anymore to launch a token. They knew that their product market fit didn't exist, and now they moved to live streaming and stuff like that. I mean, they did raise to tackle TikTok and whatever, Twitch and stuff, but that's like a whole other thing. This creator coin concept is you got Base tackling it in a very different way, and I'd argue that they're doing it perhaps in a way that has higher product market fit, and I still don't know if they're the ones who are going to figure it out. The same with the Tulip King thing. I don't know if you're going to bring that up. It's like, this is a thing that will exist. Like, the data, encrypted data, social media is a thing that we're spending our time here. Pump Fun is had a stab at it. This court case could be the thing that kills their shot at it. I don't know. Base is doing it too. There's going to be other players that come into play. It'll be interesting how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, as Grant,
like on the streaming thing, I don't think you leave that. Like, the way that YouTube has worked so well is because they king made a lot of the creators. They created like a really nice situation where, yes, there was a know of people who actually span up a 1,000 different YouTube channels in the early days, and they were rinsing the ad monetization. Like, everything gets gamified, but I don't think you can just Pump can't just come out and say, "Oh, we want to tackle TikTok." Like, what's the most like in-demand social app on the planet, and say we want to tackle TikTok, so this justifies like raising $1 billion after we've already just made 800 million in revenue. It's like that's just retarded. Like,
it's the classic like crypto failure to launch and failure to like last a little bit of time is not a problem in crypto. It never has been. Failure to sustain something long term for very long periods of time has been, and I think it's because the tech is so fast moving. But the product market fit that Pump had when they launched their token, it was already gone. So they were moving in the pitch for something else, right? And basically, in hindsight's crazy, but you look at that, and I think about that now, and I'm like, well, yeah, they were basically pitching a new product. Like,
it was just an antidote to the low float, high FTV bullshit, which you're obviously digging into and trying to like bring to the forefront now. Like, that is the equal and opposite reaction to that. Like, let's launch a token for fucking $2.
What's weird about it.
$12 initially, but then again, we're at this weird point now where pendulum swung back to the middle a little bit because there's been a visceral reaction to how easy it is to launch a token, and obviously that's not the right way to get a token to market if you're any legitimate team, like allowing a team of like 5 or 6 paranoid schizo teenagers to bundle your token to 98% and then just sell it into smithereens. Like, Pasternak and every other launch pad after the fact has figured that one out. Like, that's all so stupid. But you don't need to go to the extremes to actually figure out a solution for certain things. But at the same time, we've swung back to the middle with ICOs, and then it took a couple of good ICOs that were raising at like 30, 50, 60, 78 million FDV, and then we just start seeing $1 billion ICOs. Everything is just so corrupted to the point of there needs to be a drastic shake-up. And I think it gets back to the earlier point in the tweet from yesterday. It's like, no token, run a profitable regular business, or launch tokenized equity. Anything in between is going to start to look really sus.
And that's a positive tailwind for going into the new year with new regulation in place. I think we'll be able to see what real tokenized equity can look like.
Unless it's a fucking Trojan horse and then like pendulum swings the other way politically and we all just get fucked and the industry dies.
Which isn't going to happen. Like, I just fundamentally believe technology is important for, like, I don't think it's encrypted money. I think it's encrypted data. Like, it's a database. Like, blockchain's a database. Bitcoin was a database. Its first application was finance, but data is data. Data isn't everything in the world. And it has to be encrypted because AI is going to be destroyed. Like, it's going to not destroy everything, but like, it's the only way to know what is going to be real or not. So like, fundamental, but it's just like a massive shift. And also, like, if you have encrypted data, like tokenized data, it doesn't have to be tradable. That's the other question mark. It's like my message to my friend, you don't have to have that traded. Fucking, you're an idiot if you're trading that. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like that's the whole thing about Zora. I just don't get like creator coins and content coins and shit like that. It's just like markets are already funny enough and have enough storyline to be a weird form of content in and of themselves, and that doesn't have to be like a two-way street. Like, stop trying to over-financialize everything because you're just adding fuel to the fire. That's why we're starting to see every single popular account on TikTok and Instagram and all these kids coming online that want to grow an account. The end skit, it's Rainbet or it's like some financialized product or it's a fucking gambling app at the end of it. That it's the only reason that content's being generated is to show like some kind of fucking gambling ref code to people who can't control themselves and stop gambling. So it doesn't need to be hyper financialized, even though I will try all this shit and I will try it out because I'm just generally curious about like how technology moves forward. But it's just a lot of shit, really, isn't it?
As you should, and I think just a positive on the Zora thing, even though I think it's unbelievably cringe and just totally wrong positioned, is at least it's moving things. You can see what it's trying to achieve and move it in the right direction, and we're not in this sort of like Black Mirror pump fun guy with a balaclava shooting a goldfish with a pistol through a bag.
Goldfish could have deserved it, to be fair.
Locking himself in a cage saying he's going to eat his own shit after a certain period of time. Yeah, like, and it's the worst too.
It's funny we're talking about, IP and trade and everything, because I know a project that did really well this year called Story.
Don't even start me on that fucking playbook, because it's all playbooks.
So, right, no. I'm going to start you on it because that's the nature of this one. So there's another one because things just keep coming back to me. Story protocol this year is wild, really, when you look back at that. And when we talk about extraction and like IP and like trade and everything, it's of everything we've said, with at risk of this thing ended up being way too long. What do you think? What do you hope that we've learned as an industry from this year, from a positive spin, before we do go into where I think is quite positive? Like 560, what do you think if we take everything into account, what we've just talked about there with Pump and what that looks like for the Solana ecosystem and how much that's quieting down now, the fact that it's gave birth to a new era and generation of streamers and people on CT that don't know anything more than pump fun shitters, what it means across Libra, ICOs, everything. What do you think of all the negative stuff? What's a phoenix from the ashes?
I think we've talked about a lot of them, man. It's like leveling up in terms of what tokens mean. Stablecoins themselves have found incredible product market fit. We haven't really talked too much about that.
True.
I think privacy, prediction markets, even some payment stuff with X402, I think are super interesting. I think there's a lot to be excited about going into next year.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried.
I think that's a good point, actually. Before I go to you two about learnings, we have to talk about the prediction market thing. And how do I phrase a question here? The ongoing like stealth attack from Kalshi on Polymarket throughout this year. What do you think of prediction markets? And obviously we're talking about, unfortunately, the place that the industry is predominantly known for at the minute is just hyper gambling casino of everything. Nev, what's your thoughts right now?
Oh, mate, you know I'm gonna fucking. God damn it! Damn, I'm not a big fan. I'm not. No, sorry. I think it's an interesting, novel application of the technology. Do I think that it's like that revolutionary? No. Do I think that it's just rebranding gambling the same way that vapes were rebranded from cigarettes and fiat money was rebranded to stablecoins? Yes. So it's probably like, yeah, we'll probably get some people on chain. Does that actually impact? Who was it that was posting some videos recently? It was Stats, I think, saying like, does it impact my bags? Does it impact? I don't even think it's about impacting my bags. Like, do I think that it pushes the technology forward? No. I think that it gets more people using the technology, which is interesting. Maybe that makes more investments happen into other places, which I would get excited about. I think, again, this comes down to my, like, I guess, overall thesis that I've been feeling is that the financialization, like the application of blockchain technology in finance is at the end point. There's not much exploration that's going to happen. You look at HIP 3, it's like reaching the point where it is going to be adopted into these main things, and that's really cool. But the experimentation of the tech is happening in other places. So prediction markets, I think it's interesting. I don't really gamble, so I don't really use the products. And if I miss out on a major airdrop, which I don't think will happen, by the way, because they're going to be a normal company, that's fine.
Yeah, grand.
I think they might do something interesting with tokenized equity.
Interesting.
Because that only Polymarket, should I say, and like comparing Polymarket and Kalshi is just, yeah, it's just stupid. So what I really like about it is the fact that you can get mass buy-in around a specific question and get money on the line to find the source of truth before it actually happens. I think that's fucking cool. Does that mean that doesn't happen in sports books already? Well, it does.
Marketing
to a degree,
mate.
Yeah, and it is a bit of like a crypto Web3 reskin of a similar sort of product, but at the same time, you can't discredit the Nasdaq investment in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like undeniable. I love that it's been a crypto native founder that's built this when no one was paying attention, that no one was responding to DMs. Then it gone and got like a $2 billion investment from Nasdaq. I love that aspect of it. I think, yes, there is a bit of what you're saying, but at the same time, I do think I still think there's a lot of like product development that needs to actually happen. I think there's a lot of liquidity constraints that need to kind of like be addressed. I think there's a lot of long dated markets that are pretty capital inefficient, and I don't think it'll stay in the same structure as it is now currently. But that's a good thing. The infighting is retarded. I think Kalshi have just basically benefited from Polymarket's success and just tried to play this like leech infested and underhanded marketing game, and I would like to see that play out the way that I think it might do over time as well. But from a product perspective, I think it's great. I say like crypto native founder has gone and done that. Like, yeah. I think that's like really, really strong for the industry and like legitimizes the industry even more.
So the one thing to kind of like optimistically steer this thing towards a close is there's been a lot of pieces trickle across the timeline in the last couple of weeks. We talked about them on here actually. A lot of like grave dancing, crash out articles that always happen every time we see some turbulence in the market. And the guy known as Tulip King, if you're not familiar with him, he's been on like Thread Guy's Counterparty. He's like ex Mazzari, and he kind of basically did a video that is this one here, so you can find it after we're done here. If you can pull that up on screen, Henry, I'll just show it for a minute. And what I really, really liked about this, wait until I can see that. I don't like this new streaming software. Where is it?
While you're going on to the finding the positive thing, mate, I'll bring up the last ugly thing that we didn't cover is the 1010 liquidation event, the biggest in history, pretty wild.
God, how did
I just had that little moment while you're pulling that up. I was like, Jesus, that's wild. But yeah.
Yeah, also brutal. So this is the video, also, as if that doesn't deserve a full conversation, but like, what more can we possibly fit in? So this is the video of the Tulip King, and it's like a 4-minute video, and I'd recommend you go away and watch it. And it's a really good insight into kind of what we've been preaching, I think, a lot here over the last couple of weeks, and I think anyone that is actively operating in this industry full time would say, is please try and zoom out. And the message is, like, realistically, it's never been a more positive time for the actual adoption of where this industry is going, objectively, in terms of like what we're seeing from a lot of the stuff in the States, like crypto being passed into like people's 401ks and retirement plans. Generally everything we're seeing across stable coins and robotics and everything 563 is saying about what might come there from an agent point of view. Can we get this screen off, Henry? And I think that the takeaway mainly is that many people are pissed off and frustrated because it has been so hard to make money now for such a long time. Well, it's felt like a long time, over 12 months. But realistically, this is an incredibly hard game to play. It objectively is. I always say to my mates who are in the pub on a Friday night who ask me about crypto every time we have like a 10% pump, I say, do you buy stocks? And when the answer is no, I say, well, why would you buy crypto? Why would you want to trade the most? I know why, because it's seductive. Why would you want to trade the most highly volatile, hardest thing to get in and out of at a time that it's been harder than ever to trade? And it's like, again, how do we separate the direction of the steer of the industry to how hard it's been from a market point of view? Because I do think it's ultimately positive, and I want to know what your takes are on that, lads, because I didn't want people thinking that we'd be all doom and gloom for this one. Grant, you can go first.
Yeah, I think it's like what we've been littered out throughout this whole conversation. We're now forced into a situation where there's a few things happening at once. Alts haven't performed well, equities and tokenization is happening, so that kind of then has a closer, like, just bringing valuations back down to reality in comparison to what the other tickers that they're sat next to in these perps dexes and every other platform now. You know what I mean? You're looking at, I don't know, Anthropics and OpenAIs of the world, and obviously those are like $100 billion market caps and stuff like that. And then you got Ethereum sat at, was it 300 billion or some shit, 400 billion? Like, even if you like go down the leaderboard a little bit and start to look at some of the mid caps, as you would typically call them, and then put them against some adjacent businesses that like fully functionally and operate in the real world, the full industry just needs a complete washout from some of like the retarded shit that's still getting by, doing the bare minimum, completely logged off, completely quiet quit, living off being able to sell tokens into retail by putting out a couple of tweets and a couple of core marketing fucking campaigns here and there and pretending that they're going to push some kind of product update. Like the bare minimum to not go to prison, really. Like that all needs to just completely fuck off. And I think it needs the guts ripping out of it for then you to start seeing, like, me and 563 spoke extensively about deep-in projects over the years, and even some AI projects over the years, and said, yeah, fundamentally there's a brilliant business there, but the tokenization incentive model, everyone knows it's just a fucking coupon that you sell and you realize for dollars. If there's an incentive model where you're actually tokenizing and distributing rewards that are in the form of tokenized equity, that changes that business model completely, because it gives investor protections over actual underlying equity, as opposed to some fucking Starbucks point or Starbucks coupon or some, like, because that's basically what is being portrayed now, given these mergers and acquisitions that are happening. The mergers and acquisitions are also shedding light on what the real valuations of the companies are. So there's this huge compression that's happening across the board, and it's either the companies that retrofit and go backwards and or actually building from the ground, like a grassroots level, and then building up, as opposed to trying to protect from this extremely overbloated FTV, or the new shit that comes online and tries to do things better with, like, that haven't been corrupted and haven't had this like egregious market cap pressed upon them by VCs that want to actually exit before the token actually goes live. So all that to say, it's going to be pretty fucking difficult to see all that play out, because there's going to be so much that needs to get washed out, and there's going to be a lot of bodies that have to float to the surface. But I think when all's said and done, there's going to be a lot of brilliant businesses. Whether they have a token or whether they don't, I don't necessarily care, to be honest. But I think the industry is going to be in a much, much, much greater place.
563.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the market is leveled up, so you have to too, basically. It's going to get harder. It's not going to get easier, but I do think when the market is hot, there's no better place to be than in crypto, because that's where all the opportunity is, and it's for the taking for everybody. You don't have to be an accredited investor. You can value these companies and try out these products and be the first in line to actually invest. And I don't think there's any other place I'd rather be.
Nev?
Yeah, look, I'm incredibly optimistic about the future, and it has honestly nothing to do with token prices. I think that the application of the technology now, I'm looking forward to seeing crypto companies. What crypto has enabled is things like Kobe's work that he did with Echo. I genuinely think it's going to be one of the most important creations from this industry that allows regular people to access early stage investments from people. I genuinely think that application, and whether that gets tokenized by somebody else through MetaDAO or something else, it's interesting, right? Like the idea that someone can have an idea and get early investment from lots of different people in a way that's like actually applicable to, like, you're not going to get screwed. Right now, a lot of these tokens are going to go to zero, but there will be more and more companies that use this technology, and they don't have to have a token. They can create a product that actually has product market fit. It could be a kid's toy. It could be something that's completely irrelevant, that's talking about the way that you can make things like the data private, technology things. You could release a new LLM that has encrypted data, and you'd instantly have product market fit, because you'd have users. Is that what a news research is doing? I'm not sure. But like you can have an LLM where you're talking and you know your data is owned by you, not somebody else. That's instant product market fit. These applications can happen, and you don't have to have a token. You can do pre-market discovery a million times technically, and crypto also enables you to have access to those deals. There was the Series L joke I saw you post, Grant, like Series L. So it's just private selling. But that's the thing, is like private markets arguably don't exist because of the technology in crypto as well. So like I'm very bullish about next year and where this is going. Do I think that it's going to be a very hard reality check for the people who aren't paying attention and being very critical and being very unemotional about current investments, what tokens are, how teams have been operating? Yes, it will be vicious, and people need to pay attention. They need to really think. They really need to sit down and evaluate if they're holding things that they actually believe in, or if they're just doing it because they have sunk cost fallacy or whatever. Some of these will come back up and they'll be awesome, but there are a lot of projects that are pretending. And I hope that there's gasoline poured on them and they just go and stop making money. But I'm hella positive about next year.
Awesome. And then we'll that's a really good way. And I just want to, and when I'm gonna, that was a really good way to end it. And I am going to end it there, because I do think there is hope. And just remember, like this Smalting tweet, when your significant other tells you you're a bad trader, that just means it's a bottom signal. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the things that people have said this year. We do appreciate it. Thanks again to everyone that sponsored the show, Yeet, QFX, all you guys. We'll be around until the end of the week. And then we're going to go and spend some time with our friends and family and tell them to not buy crypto.
My family left me from this year, mate. Nothing left. I'm just be online, but still trying to find my friends. Where'd they go?
So thanks, lads.